Two long, possibly forgotten heroes of the clan boss scene. There are two champions who do poisons better than just about every other champion in the game, but for some reason are rarely talked about and rarely used in today's day and age. But we're going to talk about them today, and not only that, we're going to talk about which one of them is better. Is it AOTHAR or ROWAN? So let's get into it. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Madcapper. This is another video on Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're talking about ROWAN versus AOTHAR. Very similar abilities, very similar specialty, that of the clan boss. Which one of them is better for you? Which one will work better with the gear that they can wear? Let's find out right now. Let's start by taking a look how I've built each of them out. And we'll talk about why I built them, each of them. I mean, it's pretty obvious. We're going to put them in the I call it the Myth Fu Light. I don't know. I need a name for it because it actually is not attuned currently on the on Double Jedi's website. It's Myth Fu without Fushan, which just means speeding everyone up to make it work. But so let's first take a look at ROWAN. Now I know that ROWAN has 6-star blessing. This is a bit of a problem because I don't want to pay to change what it is. However, that blessing itself is not doing anything in it. It is one, I did an arena test with her. I just wanted to see when this thing came out if it was any good. It's not. But I do acknowledge that she gets 10 extra speed, 50 accuracy, and 500 attack, 1000 HP as part of it. The rest of this doesn't do anything for her. But to make up for that, and we'll take a look at her total stats of 69, 54 attack, 191 speed, that's the speed that she needs to be in tune, 285 crit damage, 251 accuracy. I did actually, as you can see here, I have a ring. This is the ring she would wear, which is coincidentally 500 more. It's almost 500 more and 1000 HP. So I am taking those out. Yes, the speed and accuracy is still a thing. No, I can't do anything about it. So we'll just go with this and we'll see what happens. Her masteries are, we're putting her in Giant Slayer. The reason why we put her in Giant Slayer is she's got a 4 and a 3 and a 1 attack. Overall, it just makes sense to put her a little bit on that. It's not a big deal difference, but it is a difference enough that we're going to put her in Giant Slayer to try to get those extra hits. And we want to extend the debuffs whenever we can. And other than that, we're just going for pure, damage in a world where she's going to have full HP and she's got black damage and everything up. So that's her build. They're built the same as far as that goes. They both have one cruel set, so we're trying to keep all those things level. So on the flip side, we have our friend, and I'll move over here again. We have AOTHAR. Now AOTHAR, of course, notably does not have the great blessing, the 6-star blessing, which is my curse because who wants a 6-star blessing on ROWAN? Not me. Maybe if that's your only DPS, but it's not. But he does have the same masteries. And his stats here, 64, 96, 287, 191, 252. So very close. The only difference is she's being far outclassed in attack. Now, the flip side is, and AOTHAR has kind of a little bit of an extra advantage. And that, of course, is as a lead, he does have an aura of 21% in all battles. That's part of his kit. We're going to use that for him, and we're going to put him in the fight with that. So he is markedly lower attack. Why is he lower attack? Well, it's speed. He is a 92 base speed. She is a 108 base speed. That makes her way easier to get more stats on because that's essentially a 2x roll in speed as a substat that she doesn't need. So she can just ignore that and get instead 2 rolls into crit damage or crit rate or or attack or anything else that can help her stats more, which is aptly why she has the significantly more attack. And I could even go even further because of her blessing. But like I said, I wanted to make at least a modicum of fairness in that respect. So there are the two. We're going to put them in the clan boss, and then we're going to talk about the results. So I'm not going to make you watch the clan boss. I've already run the keys. So I'm just going to show you the results of the clan boss keys, and then we're going to have a frank discussion about each champion, why they did what they did, what you can do with them outside of the clan boss, and which one excels in the clan boss, outside of the clan boss, and in general. So let's take a look, my friends, at the results. Now, I mean, I suppose I should bring a little bit into the conversation before I jump into there, and we're going to do this first. We're going to put a side-by-side, if this works. You can kind of see it. Let me see if I can get AOTHAR down there. We'll scroll to the other one. It's probably a little bit difficult to read. Maybe we can just make a little bit big. No, we can't, because then we do that. It's a little bit difficult to read, but I'll read it for you. So his A1 has a 1.7 multiplier. Keep in mind that's 2 hits, so effectively, if you're trying to compare apples to apples, that's a 3.4 damage. And then you're looking at Holy Flame, which is a 1.65 on a 4-hitter. And then you're looking at the 5.45 on a single hit. Those are his 3 abilities here. Can you see that one? 5.45. So Rowan does it a little bit differently. She's got attack times 1.9 plus her speed divided by 100. So let's just say, okay, so she's got a 191 speed and she's getting buffed 30%. Now I don't know if this is exactly right, but it could be. So it's that, and then you're gonna divide that by 100, and that's gonna give you that, and you're gonna add 1.9. So her multiplier on her A1 is gonna be a 4.383, which is much better than a 3.4. So that's a very strong A1. It's a single hit. Obviously, with a double hit, there's a better chance that he might get a chance to War Master proc. You know, but strictly speaking, she's just going to do more damage on her A1. It's a considerable amount. And that's in this tune. Obviously, different tunes, she would get even a higher multiplier. So that's an interesting way that they use speed as a multiplier in damage. Now, her A2 at 1.8 is a 3-hitter, which is, what, 3.6, 4.4? No, 5.4. It's a 5.4 3-hitter. Definitely better than his 3 point. Oh, it's 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, his A2 is better, isn't it? God, why do I need so much math? 1.65 times 4, 6.6, and hers is 1.8 times 3 is 5.4. So he's hitting harder on his A2. That hits 4 times for 1.65 times attack each time, whereas hers is going to hit 1.8 on 3. So his is much better. And then he's hitting for a straight 5.45 on his A3. Her A3 is 1.4 times 4, and that's a 5.6. So hers is slightly better there. So you're going back and forth. They're very similar. Her biggest one is her A1's going to hit a lot bigger than his. So that's the biggest difference. Now, let's bring up the result. And let me know in the comments down below, maybe before we actually bring up the result, before we actually show you what the two of them did, which one do you think is going to do more damage? Rowan or AOTHAR? The big difference is she's got a slightly higher base attack. She's got a much higher, it's about 500 extra attack on her build because of her speed, allowing her to do that. And her multipliers are mostly, his A2 is better, her A1 and A3 are better. I would call it a near push. Maybe her A1 puts her total damage a little bit higher on multipliers and that higher base attack to start with. So with all that combined, let us show you now the result. And the result is AOTHAR wins. And it's not crazy damage. Let's see if we can make that a little bit bigger. We don't need to actually see the rest of the team, although we will talk about, actually I want to talk about the rest of the team. So you can just put me on a big screen TV if you want to see it. I think that's the right thing to do. So how is it that AOTHAR, by the way, is 43,368,730. Rowan is 42,146,369. Well, there's some differences between the two, and these are the differences that are going to ultimately make the difference on which one is better in the clan boss. And that is AOTHAR has that attack aura. Now, we talked about how she's got a better attack aura than him, correct? However, and let's bring this up again. We'll bring up the calculator. His attack was about 64, we'll say 6,500. Just for giggles, 6,500. But he's also getting an extra 21%. That means his effective attack going into the battle which he gets regardless, it's an aura, is 7865. So any advantage she has for having a better starting speed and therefore better damage is negated by his aura. Now, you can, of course, if you have a champion with a better, like a 33, for example, if you're using Shigur with AOTHAR, then AOTHAR is decidedly not going to be as good. Rowan's going to get that boost from the 33%, and she's probably going to outdamage him handily. As it is, she only lost by about 1.2 million with that extra damage that he got. But what are the other things to keep in mind? Why else did she lose in spite of the fact, now I get he's got the aura, which is good, but her multipliers are better. Why is it so close? Well, also there's one other thing, and it's worth about 2.1 million damage, and that is the poison buff. Now, they both have four 2-turn poison buffs that they're putting on the boss on the same cooldown. So how is it that that makes a difference? Well, it's quite easy, because Rowan has an A1 that puts 100% decrease heal, or heal reduction debuff. And that debuff takes up 1 fragment on the line. And if you look at the poisons, which will overlap when they're at full speed, you're talking about 8 poisons, 2 debuffs, decrease defense and weaken, sorry. That means the A1 of Rowan's is taking a spot for a poison. And it happens all the time in poison. Thank God it's a poison and not a decreased defense or weaken. But because of her A1, and because it is on her A1, and therefore it lands with such shocking regularity, she's going to lose approximately 2 million in damage on poisons alone because of the cap of the poisons on the debuff bar for the boss. And that is combine the difference. But there's also one other thing, which is probably obvious by now, but we'll talk about it. AOTHAR's aura is going to help the whole team. And that means, look at here, for example, you've got Eris doing an extra 1.3 million. You've got Demetha doing 500,000 more. You've got Seeker doing an extra 1.5 million. You've got Bellinor doing an extra. Now, Bellinor wasn't full crit cap, so some of that might be RNG, but that's 3 million extra. And all that extra damage is going to happen no matter what your stats are on AOTHAR. He's going to boost the rest of the team's stats. No matter how good you are, no matter how good your gear is, that 21% extra attack in all battles is going to make the difference. And it, at the end of the day, makes it a better run. Does that make him better for the clan boss? There's one more thing we have to consider, and it's kind of a push. In this particular comp, AOTHAR being Force Affinity actually makes this comp 100% affinity friendly, whereas the one on the right, which is way over there, of Rowan, is not affinity friendly, because in the case of Spirit Affinity, Eris will get stunned, and we cannot have Eris stunned and have the comp work. You'd have to use a different comp. You could use Tahanarok in this spot instead of Eris, and that would make this comp work because she does the cleanse. Doom Priest technically, but Doom Priest doesn't have the other part of the kit that needs to happen, whereas Tahanarok can actually slot in and make this work with all her total kit. So so that is a definite positive on AOTHAR's side. The flip side is, if you're just comparing the two and you're like, well, I'm not going to use them in this comp, I'm going to use them in a different comp, I don't need to worry about protecting the stun, in which case Rowan has the advantage because she has no weak affinity, which means you don't have to worry about that Spirit Affinity boss. She's going to maintain relatively the same damage through all 4 pieces. So both of them have some pluses and minuses. I think overall, I have to give the win easily, or at least handily, to AOTHAR. That 21% aura, even though he doesn't have the blessing, like Rowan, if I changed her to her other ring, she would have beat him. As it is, she gets the extra 10 speed and 50 accuracy. That's a lot of speed and accuracy that allowed me to build her even harder. I did let AOTHAR go first. I built him first, so he did get the choice gear, so to speak. So, I mean, you could balance it that way, this way, and that. But with all things being equal, Rowan's going to do more damage herself, but that aura is going to let AOTHAR catch up, and is definitely going to allow the rest of the team to do more damage. It's going to help your overall team. With the only caveat being, if you need to worry about the stun tank on Spirit, then Rowan is not going to help you. But if you're just looking for consistent output, Rowan's going to be better than AOTHAR. So from that perspective, I would call it AOTHAR, but only by a slight margin. Now, the other thing you have to consider is, what about the rest of the dungeons? What about everywhere else? And that's where I think Rowan really begins to excel. Now, in boss fights, they're going to perform very similar because all bosses have very similar attributes, that they cannot be stunned. Typically, you cannot manipulate their turn meter, although some are different, and you cannot use a block active skills. So that means that when you look at Rowan, who has a block active skills, it is essentially, where are you, my friend? There you are. Or sorry, AOTHAR. He's got the block active skills here for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, but it's actually not going to do anything because he's not going to be able to land that on bosses. He is going to be allowed to use this 4 times at random. That's going to land all on the boss. That's going to be good. And this is just going to hit well with stealing a random buff is a nice added bonus, although it is only a 25% chance. This does, however, make him a possible solution for those of you trying to progress in the magic potion dungeon. I know those aren't that difficult, but when you're new to the game, AOTHAR can absolutely help you with that area. On the flip side, you've got pretty much the same thing, but with different results or different bosses. Rowan, obviously same thing on the bosses. She's going to hit 1 enemy 4 times. So this is going to be better on waves because you're not randomly hitting. Randomly placing poisons and randomly hitting people is not nearly as good as being able to concentrate that hit. But she does have the random here, except for has a stun, and it's actually a 60% chance to place a stun. So on waves, she's going to be a little bit better for crowd control. It's going to help you breathe a little bit if you're in that mid game and you're struggling because the bombardiers or whatever they are called in the dragon are killing you. She can help you out with that. She might get just the right stuns to be able to get you through that. And of course, she has the 70% chance of placing a heal reduction. This is going to be very strong, of course, in the Spirit Affinity dungeon. And she's going to be good in all potion dungeons in general. Her problem is survivability. She does have very low defense, not great HP, though better than AOTHAR's. Both of them are going to struggle to survive in the later stages. It would be very hard to use her, even in something like Dragon Hard 10, where those poisons are going to be really good. They're both probably going to die long before they're able to fully maximize the ability off of that A3. So it might not be as good as you think. Though Poison Explosion, they could be useful on the Dragon because they're concentrating all their efforts on that one champion. So overall, Faction Wars, I think both of those factions are fairly easy to complete. I would say maybe the edge goes to Rowan, because I feel like the Banner Lords traditionally haven't had as strong of epics to get through, though honestly, in the last 2 years, the amount of epics that have gone through here, probably not even that hard to use it without Rowan. I don't think she's going to make much of a difference here, but equally so, I don't think you need AOTHAR to complete anything with this roster here. So they're both probably not needed in most Faction Wars scenarios. So overall, I think if you need a clan boss poisoner that is going to be able to do some next level damage for you and really be able to push your game forward in the clan boss, you need those poisons, you need the high-end damage. Look, they both hit over 40 million, and I have better gear that I could have put on them, so that number can only grow. So I think overall, if you're looking for damage dealer, both of these are great options for you. And the added advantage of AOTHAR having that aura and being Force Affinity in those comps where you need to protect Eris makes him a perfect fit for any of you looking that you have a debuffer and you're just looking for that damage. Maybe you've got a Deacon comp and you have a nice Deacon there. He's got that decreased defense. Well, great. Now you have AOTHAR that can do top level damage for you. Though I would also preface by saying do not expect north of 40 million in every comp you use. Obviously, he needs Weaken to maximize his damage. Obviously, it depends on your gear. Those are my final thoughts. A slight lead, a slight win for AOTHAR, but Rowan still holds in there with the affinity and the overall usefulness, I think, because of her crowd control. That said, I think at the end of the day, if you're looking for a winner, it's probably going to be AOTHAR. What are your thoughts? Do you like AOTHAR or Rowan better, or do you think both of them should just be stuck to the vault and then you can use someone else? Let me know in the comments down below. One final thing, I have finally activated my membership for YouTube. Feel free, if you want to help support this content and more, like the I Built Them So You Don't Have To series. Memberships start at just $1.99, a very reasonable price for you to assist me. It is absolutely volunteer voluntary, but if you do want to, I would absolutely appreciate it. And there will be more coming with that. Not only do you get the emotes at $1.99, the higher tiers get some other monthly gifts, as well as private access to the server where I check and converse with you daily. But on top of that, I will be moving my streaming from Twitch to YouTube after I come back from my vacation at the beginning of July. So the week of July 11th, I will be switching to Saturday, Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. Or probably 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time during the summer. I'm not doing Friday nights during the summer. There's just too many people doing better things than watching me. So I come in, you can be hungover with me on a Saturday and Sunday morning, have a little coffee, playing a little raid, 9 a.m. both days. And that will be starting July 15th, I think it is. So I hope to see you there. And then, of course, then you might want to subscribe and join the join the membership to get some of those extra perks. But again, completely voluntary and up to you. So look for that coming soon. As always, of course, I want to thank you for watching the video. Please be kind, be safe, and we'll see you in the next one.